In this video are the top 5 must-buy players in Dynasty Fantasy Football right now, especially after all the moves that are coming from the offseason. Buy lows, buy highs, league winners, stashes, 2025, everything you need to know is coming right now in this video. And I'll tell you some realistic trade packages I would send out to get these guys on my team, so it's not just a mindless list of players that you're never going to remember. But there is one must-have quarterback at the end of the video that I promise is 10 times lower their actual value for the season of 2025. So make sure you stick around for that one quarterback. It's always good to have that information. But starting with number 1, Rashee Rice, and I have him ranked so much higher than the consensus you can see here on the list of what we have. Yes, he was injured for pretty much the entire 2024 season, finished as the wide receiver 98 and had guys like Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy brought into the Chiefs for competition. That doesn't scare me at all though. I really don't care. In his 2.5 healthy games that he did play this year, he averaged 21.6 fantasy points a game on 96 yards and 9.7 targets per game. That's literally elite. That is top 3 wide receiver numbers. He was able to establish himself as the clear, in a way, number 1 wide receiver on this Chiefs team in the very short time that he was healthy and playing. And it's not like that was a fluke. If we look back into 2023, that season, after the week 10 bye and even into the playoffs, he averaged 17 fantasy points a game on 8.7 targets. Like, this isn't fluke numbers, this isn't new. And those numbers are even better if you isolate the games where he played at least 75% of the snaps, which is a guarantee coming into the 2025 season. Whether you think this team is good, whether you like them or not, Mahomes is a very good quarterback. There's no world where he leaves the Chiefs. Rashee Rice is pretty much guaranteed a secure job until he wants to leave, which probably isn't going to happen himself. On top of the fact that he's a 24-year-old wide receiver coming into his 3rd NFL season, is still extremely young and a whole bunch, probably hasn't even reached his prime yet. He will be a free agent in 2027, so maybe there's some contractual ties there, but still, considering that he's still on contract for the next 2 years, the developmental focus for the Chiefs and him on this team is going to be very, very high. From a dynasty perspective, the Chiefs won't draft any competition, at least wide receivers this year. It's not a super strong wide receiver class in general. I think the running back class is really, really strong. If you guys do want a breakdown of the draft and the combine of what we saw before, I'll pin it in this video so you guys can go take a quick look. But again, with the draft pick, with the playoff success that they did have, there's really no worry that they're going to take a really good wide receiver and just kind of push him down the depth chart. Rashee Rice, probably one of the most secure guys on this team. He's at his lowest value of all time because of his injury, especially for the rest of his career. There's no way he's going to be this low forever. On top of the fact that we have DeAndre Hopkins now on the Ravens taking out more competition, you have to be buying him right now. We always want to be getting the guys that are on suspension or have an injury discount in Dynasty because, I mean, at least when they have a good situation and bright lights in front of them, because it's a great spot. Their value's low, and I'd send a 2025 first-round pick for Rashee Rice. You're going to get your highest pick value when we get closer to the NFL draft, probably from now, I guess, until the draft day. This is when rookie draft picks are very, very, very valuable. So I would send one of them. You could probably get that pretty easily for Rashee Rice. If you need to get rid of Zay Flowers or even a guy like Alvin Kamara, I'd do it to get Rashee Rice on my team. But Chris Godwin is another guy that I want on my team as soon as possible. Obviously, we are aware of the huge injury that he suffered last season in week 7, which is driving his value down a ton if you do go through and look at his charts. But we've seen wide receivers coming off injuries be absolutely fine. Yes, it is a little bit of volatility involved with that, but you can't take away from the amazing season that he did have when he was still healthy with Baker Mayfield in his first year there. From weeks 1 to 7, he was the overall wide receiver 2 in total targets with 62 of them. The Buccaneers offense jumped from 19.3 points per game in average 2023 to 27.8 in 2024 with Baker Mayfield. The offense and the coaching is more or less the same coming into this season than it was last year. He's valued as the overall wide receiver 43 in trade value, and that is dropping. It does not make any sense. He was the wide receiver 39 at the end of the regular season. Chris Godwin is still 29 years old with a good amount of prime left. He just got signed. I'll get into that later. But the age range, he's getting closer to 30. So maybe that is dropping his selling value for people that do have him on his team right now. And all of this is great. He just re-signed a 3-year deal with $44 million guaranteed with the Buccaneers. He's not going anywhere. Clearly, they aren't concerned about this injury, or they would not be giving him as much guaranteed money as they are. NFL is a business at the end of the day. I'd send guys like David Njoku, maybe Michael Pittman, Mark Andrews for him straight up. I think people are going to want a little bit more than that, but considering his injury history, maybe they won't. Another guy, though, that we are buying low on, I've talked about earlier in the offseason before, I'm 100% with this take, is going to be Jalen Coker from the Panthers, and I'll make it quick. Whether you've seen my videos or seen other people talk about him, these are the numbers you need to know. He has been building some hype. It's 100% a fact. If you look at the value chart, it's evident, but he is still valued as the wide receiver 60, which is outside the top 12 rounds in Dynasty mock drafts, and everybody's going to talk about the wide receiver competition that he has. I mean, that is a valid concern if we're being real, but there is a path here, and that's what we want to see. Thielen, he has one more year under contract with the Panthers. They're re-signing him. Leggett, he isn't going anywhere. He's young. He's a rookie. He did good. He's a first-round guy. They're not going to get rid of him either. But this doesn't have to be a drawback, and then honestly what is keeping his value so low compared to the relative success that he saw as an undrafted guy last season. If we go through and we look at his game logs, the first 4 games, he really was not seeing the field even a little bit, and that's understandable. Again, he's an undrafted free agent, really zero expectations. Then we had some injuries. Adam Thielen went on IR. Even Xavier Leggett was missing a couple games here and there. But in weeks 5 through 10, before Coker's injury himself, he was averaging a 50% snap share. That's compared to a 0% in weeks 1 through 4 before that mark. Then he comes back after injury and his value skyrockets. Absolutely. He was averaging 85% of the snaps after that and 5 targets a game. Not crazy fantasy points per game, but for what the Panthers offense was and their offensive line, he did have his flashes. Now, he was 45th in yards per route run, not bad at all for rookies at least. He was 8th in yards per target at 10.4, 12th in production premium, 28th in fantasy points per target, and those efficiency metrics, again, are going to give us a little bit of light in what we can look forward to next season and this season coming up. The question is, though, can he earn enough targets to make it worth it? He was the wide receiver 98 in total targets last year, 80th in target rate, so it's definitely not a guarantee that he is a guy to go to and get a ton of looks this season. But what he did show us is that the team trusts him in a starting role. He was running over 90% of the routes in the back end of the season. Then the Panthers go out, they lose Jonathan Mingo to the Cowboys, eliminating some of the competition. Bryce Young turns into a guy that Panthers fans are actually excited to watch and hoping that he would be all along. I believe in that part of the Dave Canales effect, and he came into this offense. He did his thing with the Buccaneers in 2023. Again, I fully believe Bryce Young will continue to improve after a full season with the coaching staff and with this offense in general. It really can't get any worse. He's only rostered in 52% of Dynasty leagues, so it's possible he's still out there on the waivers for you in leagues that are a little bit less competitive. So if he is, go out and grab him instantly. But guys like Romeo Doubs, Jonnu Smith, or even Aaron Jones at that point, I would trade them away to take this longer term gamble with Jalen Coker. Again, let me know your specific trade questions in the comments. I'm answering 100% of them. But the first guy here that you would never expect, a quarterback that I do like, is going to be Trevor Lawrence. Simply because, before you get mad, he is way too hated on and undervalued for what he is. He's valued at the quarterback 17. I get it. He's coming off an extremely disappointing few years, not even just last year, with the worst career year last year if we're looking at that isolated. Finished as a quarterback 27, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions in 10 games. It's terrible. Like, if we're just being completely honest, it's not good. Then you look at the Jaguars, they're losing their top pieces like Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk in free agency. That's seriously going to be plummeting the value for Trevor Lawrence, and you could see in his chart that that is exactly what's happening. On the bright side, the offense is going to upgrade itself a little bit in the draft. They do have a pretty good pick, and then they'll be getting healthier, which is a very important part for them. They've been dealing with those issues for a long part of last season. He's not the safest quarterback, we're going to be completely honest, but he's still 25. Like, that is extremely young for a quarterback, especially considering how long it feels like he's been in the league for. He's young, his value is still there, and it's lower than guys like Cam Ward or JJ McCarthy, 2 quarterbacks to really never touch NFL turf and play a game. It quite literally cannot get any worse than that. Like, he's an extremely low valued quarterback. Even if you're not in a 2 quarterback league, stashing guys like this is extremely valuable, especially when his trade value is around guys like Zay Flowers and Jared Goff. Like, I'm taking the gamble on that. There's no way a 25-year-old quarterback in the next 5, 10, 15 years that was drafted at his caliber continues to be terrible and does nothing. And the value is not that high. You don't have to spend a bag to go get him on your team. But the number 1 quarterback I wanted you guys to wait for and honestly just send out trade offers for, because he is valued so low and he is a budget beast, if you want to call him that, is going to be Dak Prescott. Now, I know some of you guys are cringing at the name. Yes, he is 31. Typically in Dynasty, people overvalue the younger guys and undervalue the older people. We can still make room for these older guys on our team. You have to have a balance. Every player on your roster doesn't have to be young and have a 10-year window for value. A lot of times you can get these short-term players on your team insanely cheap because of that exact fact right now. He's a quarterback 23 behind guys like Jared Goff, Bryce Young, Cam Ward again, even Shedeur Sanders is ranked above him. And the reason that I'm not worried for his age is because he's not a free agent until 2029 when he's 36 years old. We've seen quarterbacks play into their 40s. Example, Tom Brady. Now, yes, Dak Prescott is not a Tom Brady, but he does have potential to carry out his contract into the 2028 season. Even if that's another 3 years and he takes that out, At the very least, you get a very solid quarterback on a team that loves to pass the ball in fantasy terms. He just had 4,500 yards with 36 touchdowns and 9 interceptions in 2023. He had 11 touchdowns, 1,978 yards, and 7 healthy games last year. Now he'll be coming into the 2025 season fully healthy with a new coaching staff and almost a guaranteed offense upgrade with CeeDee Lamb and the draft picks that they do have. They even got Javonte Williams on the ground to get that game going a little bit more. I still think they're going to be an extremely pass-heavy offense, but at least there's some variety there. And some things to consider is that their Super Bowl window is technically still open. Yes, the NFC East is very competitive, but they're not going to be replacing Dak Prescott anytime soon, especially with the amount of money that they're guaranteeing him in that contract. He's an older guy, his value is extremely low, but his potential floor is amazing. As far as a floor play, like, he's a great quarterback too to have in your league at a discount of the quarterback 22. You can't get anything better than that. If you need a short-term guy for extremely cheap, go send an offer for him. But that is going to finish out this video. Thank you guys so much for watching this Dynasty channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you in the next one coming very soon. All glory to the man above.